As you're aware, the NDC issued a directive to its members who are contesting the parliamentary elections as independent candidates. Now, they were asked to either step down or be dismissed from the party. We'll be looking closely at that on your election headquarters today. This program is coming to you live from the Multi-TV studios. It's also live on radio on Joy 99.7 FM. We're taking a quick break. We'll be right back. A very good afternoon to you. You are live on Joy 99.7 FM and live on the Joy News channel on Multi-TV. This is your election headquarters. This afternoon, we are also live on Love FM in Kumasi, and the program is brought to you by Infobox Mobile Services. Text election or joy to 1922 for more. Each SMS costs 10 pesos. Be the first to know it all. The issues, promises, policies, results, and more from the Joy election headquarters. My name is Araba Kumson. Now, step down or get sacked. That was the clear message from the General Secretary of the NDC to all party members who had decided to contest the December polls as independent candidates. Johnson Asedu Nketia last week gave them 7 days to make up their minds. That ultimatum expires today. 24 independent candidates in all are affected. One of them, Andrew Okankwe, who has filed to contest the Okankwe North constituency seat, says no one should dare push him out of the NDC.
They took a decision without consulting me, and I have heard the leadership of the party speaking to other media houses on subject that they never communicated to me, and I think that is a gross disrespect. That is a palpable lie, and I think that for us as a people that want to bring dynamic leadership to a party, we must not do that. If I were to be them, the best thing to do is to take the humble pie and say, we are sorry, we never communicated to you, we went our way to do the wrong thing, and we are sorry. Then we can talk as civilized people. Nobody, and I repeat, nobody can take me out of NDC.
And that was the NDC's parliamentary candidate who's going independent for the Okankwe North constituency, Andrew Okankwe. On the line now is Deputy General Secretary of the NDC, George Lawson. Thank you very much for your time, sir. We now know, at least in the case of Andrew Okankwe and Michael Nyaunu, that they will not comply with your directive. There are 22 others also affected. Will you seriously sack them from the party?
Once don't comply, you cease to be a member of the party.
So, in effect, you're saying that for these people who are defying the directive, they no longer are members of the NDC?
By close of day today, if they don't comply, they are no longer members of the National Democratic Congress.
Okay, we know, for the records, these two have decided to defy the directive. But what about the 22 others? How have they responded to this directive?
Some have complied, but I'll furnish you by close of day or tomorrow. We'll be able to know those that have complied, but some have complied. They've heeded to the call.
I see. And what reasons are they given? And I'm talking about those who have refused to comply with the directive.
Varied reasons. Varied reasons.
Could you offer us some of those reasons?
I cannot enumerate the reasons on air. The varied reasons.
So how does the party feel about the stance or the posture taken by these rogue members, if I may call them that?
The fun is that's why we've given them 1 week and it ends today, and they don't comply. And it's not, this is not the first time. We've been doing it. So this is not the first time. So while they don't comply, then they cease to be members of it. They are not supposed to use our logo, our colors, our presidential candidate. If they use, we deal with them.
Now, Mr. Lawson, the president has talked about the need for the party to adopt, if you like, a reconciliatory posture. So why this hardline approach that runs contrary to what the president is asking for?
That is why the president set up a reconciliation team. He is going from region to region. And those are there. Some of them, they've met and people have called them. So we have done what we can. And here we're talking of discipline. Rules are rules, laws are laws. It must be adhered to.
Right.
We will not countenance any indiscipline in our party.
Okay. And how soon, tell me again, how soon are you going to come on, how soon are you going to, address these issues? You said that you will by the close of day. How soon are we looking at?
After the close of day, the General Secretary, Johnson Peter, will issue a statement to that effect.
All right. Thank you very much for your time, and that's
it's a pleasure.
George Lawson. He's with the NDC National Executive. Joining us on the line now is a political science lecturer with the University of Ghana, Dr. Pesa White. Thank you very much for your time. Now, there are 24 key members of the party who will be sacked from the NDC if they fail to step down as independent candidates by the close of day today. Is that a politically prudent approach for the party to take?
Well, as far as politics is about numbers, and it's also a contact sport, I don't think it's a prudent decision for the political party to go that route, because whether you like it or not, these individuals have more or less positioned themselves as opinion leaders in their constituencies. And what it means is that if you are attacking them from the political party, you might equally be sending them away with some amount of voters who otherwise would have voted for your party just because of this individual. So I think that, especially given the timing or the time in which we are closer to election, it is not wise for any political party to kind of take this decision. In fact, the most prudent approach would have been to deal with these issues on case-by-case basis, empower the party executives at the constituency and local levels to try and find a much more conciliatory way of resolving whatever differences exist and whatever compensations needed to be issued out so as to be able to get the issue resolved. But the route that it is taking now may not necessarily be of any help at all.
But there are those who argue that the candidates brought this upon themselves because really they knew the rules before they jumped into the game.
That is true. What it also means is that there is a need for the party to go beyond just assuming that people know the rules, but also to constantly remind people of what the implications of these things are. Now, the second aspect of this is that, well, if they know the rules and they actually are flouting the rules, what is the worry of the party in this particular matter? I mean, the people have taken the rules into their hands. They are going independent. They are not forcing their way onto the party. So why really talk about, sacking them? The best approach at this point in time would have been to resolve it at a local level, or to have just remained very quiet on it. After all, the party has fielded its candidates. The thing to think about more carefully is which results will the party be getting if it backs them. If the guys continue to insist that they will stand, they will probably, scatter the system anyway. If you fire them, they might end up still scattering the system anyway. So I think that it would have been best to adopt a more conciliatory and a more mediatory role, and hope that getting to the last moment, people will still reason and retain their decisions rather than sticking to the gun of trying to fire them. We have seen this happen before and under the current, democratic dispensation, where individuals who suffer this fate find themselves in parliament only for the party to try and find a way of warming up to them just by the very nature of the arrangement in the legislature. Right. And so I think that the harsh words needs to kind of be toned down a little bit, and people need to look at the broader picture and look deep into the future. If any of these individuals ends up winning in his area or her area, it is more likely that that individual is going to be with the NDC in parliament anyway. So it is important that they are measured in their language now, especially because of the competitive nature of the elections and the fact that the mathematics of the legislature is likely to change, largely due to the creation of new constituencies.
All right. Many thanks for your time, and that was a political science lecturer with the University of Ghana, Dr. Michael Pesa White. We're also joined on the line now by Andrew Okankwe. He is the NDC member who is contesting on the Okankwe North constituency seat as an independent. Now, he has said earlier that no one can push him out of the party, but you may have heard Mr. George Lawson saying that they're going to stick to their threat to dismiss members who do not comply with the directive. Mr. Okankwe, are you still, standing firm with your stance or your position that you're not going to be pushed out of the party. The party says that it's going to stick to its threat to dismiss you if you don't comply with the directive.
My sister, you know what? It is not a party that is speaking. It is individuals that are speaking. Individuals that are speaking. And for me, you see, I have had the privilege of a minimum of about 8 independent candidates. I've never seen them before. I don't know them from NDC who have called me with regards to this issue. And I want to appeal to Mr. George Lawson that if this is the way he drives things, then it doesn't work. Because for people like Andrew Kankwe, if you take a posture like this, we will not be perturbed.
Mr. Kankwe, Mr. George Lawson is not the party.
There's the best way to handle these things. But when you handle these things, for me, I want to speak for myself. Because I never lost the primary. I contested an election, all right, I won. And somehow some people believe that they have to give it to somebody.
All right, let me just ask you this, Mr. Kankwe.
Let me speak to the general issue of
well.
other people, because in my Ghana language, that approach, I want to entreat him that is not the best way to go.
All right, but the party did hold a press conference. They spelled out the clear rules and they said what they were going to do if the candidates did not comply with the directive. You heard them loud and clear. It is not an individual's position, it's the party's position.
And I did not listen to the press conference in the first place. So far as I'm concerned, there is no official communication to me.
All right, we're joined on the line again by George Lawson. He's with the national leadership of the party. Mr. Kankwe, just hold on for us. Mr. Lawson, you heard what Mr. Kankwe said.
No,
he says
I didn't hear what I didn't hear in the meeting. I was just saying.
He says the position. He says the comments you made just right now, when I just spoke to you a few minutes ago, he says that is an individual position and not the position of the party.
Maybe he's calling the bluff of the National Executive. I'm speaking on behalf of the National Executive Committee. He cannot speak on behalf of anything, and I'm speaking on behalf of the National Executive Committee. The indiscipline that he wants to bring, my boss would issue, the General Secretary would issue a statement to that effect maybe from tomorrow. Oh, yes, we are just waiting. Others have complied.
Mr.
I'm not speaking on my own behalf. I'm speaking on behalf of the National Executive Committee.
Mr. Okake, are you there?
I'm listening to him. So far as I'm concerned, that approach will not help him and will not help the party.
But you did indicate that this was his individual position. That is not the case.
I see it, anyway.
In any case, are you going to comply with the directive?
This is not the way I comply to directives.
What would it take for you to comply with the directive?
I believe in people talking to each other in a more civil manner.
So what you're saying is that if the party spoke to you in a more civil manner, you would...
spoken to me.
If the party did speak to you, will you back down on your stance?
Nobody has spoken to me.
Are you willing to back down if the party...
No, like I said to you, nobody has spoken to me.
Well, Mr. Lawson, you heard Mr. Okankwe. He says if the party speaks...
The National Executive Committee has given a directive. It's up to him to comply or not to comply. And if he doesn't comply, there are the consequences. Before that, the President Reconciliation Team met them, where Alaji Cecilia Johnson, Faustina Nelson, Mr. Ambassador Abu Dhabi, and others. They met them before. Ask them whether what they told him, did he adhere to it? They've met him, they met with the constituency, met with the region, and they were all in that meeting.
Mr. Okankwe.
And they gave a directive.
You see, I can tell Mr. George Lawson on this particular note that I love him, I love the NDC more than he does. When we met, it was not the decision was not a reconciliatory decision.
No, they told him what they...
I will not bring such a subject.
I'm not talking of reconciliation. What they told him, who's going to see him and who's going to meet him again? Did they comply on that? And then now somebody will come, those big men will go to him again?
Mr. Lawson, please allow Mr. Okankwe to make his point.
No, but the first time they met him, what they asked him to do, did he comply? He didn't do that. So do you think this big man will go back to him again?
What was he asked to do?
They asked him to go and contest, and then did he comply?
He called their bluff. Have you heard some before?
Did he? Or did he go back to them?
Mr. Okonkwo.
Did he go back to them?
I went back to them.
They all agreed. They all agreed.
I wrote a petition to the president. I wrote a petition to the national chairman.
Our council of elders met you. And did you go back to them?
I did.
Did you respect them and went back to them? You never. You only wrote a petition. I cited a petition that you wrote to the national chairman.
But I cannot assemble.
And you don't agree. If you had something to say at that meeting, you should have told them there. You didn't tell them anything.
I told them. You were not there.
So, but the fact is, the National Executive Committee has met.
You were not in the meeting.
No, I didn't say I was in the meeting. But the fact is, they reported back to us. They reported back to us. So the fact is that the National Executive Committee has issued a directive, and some have complied. If you decide not to comply, the consequences are, this is not the first time the National Executive Committee has issued such a directive.
Anyway.
So that is it. The fact is that when we have nobody, you don't use our presidential secretary, you don't use our colors, everything. The General Secretary would come out shortly. It's just unfortunately we are in a meeting, right? The General Secretary would have contributed to that.
Right, gentlemen, how do we bring closure to this? How do we resolve this matter?
Closure. The closure is the General Secretary has, on behalf of the National Executive Committee, issued a directive. It's up to him to comply or not to comply. That is all. If he complies, if he doesn't comply, in this world, then God knows why he does things. God knows why he does everything. There's a reason for God doing all things that he does. There's a reason for doing all things that he does. It is not God when God does things. They are not mysteries. They are realities. So the fact is, a directive has been issued by the National Executive Committee, by the General, on behalf of the General Secretary. It's up to some who want to comply, have complied. If you don't want to comply, the consequences are there. And that's not the first time we issued that directive.
All right. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
That was George Lawson. He's with the national leadership of the NDC. Mr. Okonkwo, he's the Deputy General Secretary of the NDC. Mr. Okonkwo, you have the last word. How do you think this impasse between yourself and the party should be resolved? Apparently, we've lost Andrew Okonkwo there. He's an NDC member who's filed to contest the Okonkwo North seat as an independent, and he is daring the party to push him out, although the party has issued a directive for them, he and others like himself, who are, contesting as candidates. The party says they should either step down or leave the party as members. And that's how we end Election Headquarters for today. It's brought to you by Star Ghana as well as Infobox Mobile Services. Text election to 1922. This bulletin came to you live from the Multi TV studios. It was live on the Joy News channel, on Multi TV, as well as on radio on Joy 99.7 FM in Accra, also on Love 99.5 FM in Kumasi, and on the web at myjoyonline.com. My name is Arba Kumson. Join us tomorrow again for another edition.
They have disrespected me. They took a decision without consulting me. And I have heard the leadership of the party speaking to other media houses on subject that they never communicated to me. And I think that is a gross disrespect. That is a palpable lie. And I think that for us as a people that want to bring dynamic leadership to a party, we must not do that. If I were to be them, the best thing to do is to take the humble pie and say, we are sorry, we never communicated to you, we went our way to do the wrong thing, and we are sorry. Then we can talk as civilized people. Nobody, and I repeat, nobody can take me out of